Let's go, baby. You already know what time it is. Welcome back into the NFL with AJL, episode 31. We are locked and loaded. I know we're very late tonight on the Tuesday episode. We're trying to get the guest in. Good old technology and technical difficulties. We won't have any lower thirds tonight. Didn't want to push the show any later, but it's all good. The show must go on. We got to adjust. So again, no lower thirds. If you really love me, you're going to have to stay tapped in with me. I'll still cut it up and put it out on social and everything for you guys and on YouTube. But yeah, episode 31, just with me tonight. We're alive and well on all platforms. Please like, subscribe, and share, especially on YouTube. You guys are running up the subs for me, the watch hours, as always. The QR code here in the corner of the screen, every bit of social media and podcast content. We've got some wild AFC North record predictions coming up. Saquon Barkley does re-sign with the New York Giants. We'll get into that deal as well. About a week ago, Justin Fields took the bait and said he was a top 5 rushing quarterback of all time. And we're also going to go over a few more things as well. Again, sorry for the late arrival. Appreciate everyone's happening. Get in the chat, get in the comments. Let me know about the show tonight. Again, I have nothing to worry about down here. So if you're going to stay tapped in with me, it's you and I won't have some cycling graphics, but not going to hold you guys. Let's go ahead and jump into the show as Saquon Barkley did re-sign with the New York Giants. And Saquon considered sitting out week 1. He turned down almost $20 million guaranteed, we heard through the reports, while he wanted about $23 million guaranteed in total, which would have made him the 6th most guaranteed money in the NFL, just behind Nick Chubb, who's a very reputable running back. We're also going to get into some running back rankings for 2023 as we get into the end of the show. But yes, after Saquon denied this deal, and before getting tagged for $10.1 million, which he did for the running back franchise tag, he comes out and signs a 1-year, ironically, $10.1 million fully guaranteed deal with $900K, technically $909,000 in incentives that could make it $11 million in total. They also gave him a nice $2 million signing bonus as well. So let's take a look into it here. He will get the $909,000 signing bonus and incentives, which includes an equal amount paid for 3 categories, 1,350 rushing yards. They got to make the playoffs. He's got to score 11 touchdowns, and he has to have 65 receptions as well. Here's the kicker. The deal does not include a no franchise tag clause, sources told ESPN, meaning the Giants can tag him again after this season. And let's just take a look at the franchise tag and, of course, how it has not fared well for running backs. They draft them, play out their 4 years, tag them, and then possibly recycle them or tag them again. And let's look into what Saquon Barkley was saying about his potential holdout before we get into the money of the contract. Saquon Barkley was on a podcast and he said, I could say fuck you to all my teammates, to all the fans, to the Giants organization, and I could sit out. That's a real possibility, not going quote for quote here, but that was the main things of what he said in this comment. And Saquon Barkley said he could do that. He could choose that play, but he rightfully didn't do so. And Saquon should not have sat out, like he mentioned. When you look at how Le'Veon Bell's career was never the same again, when you looked at how Earl Thomas back in 2018 with the Seahawks, again, not a very same situation, but when you hold out and then Earl Thomas, returned right before the season started, unfortunately breaks his leg in the 4th game of the season and really never saw another contract again. So when we've seen holdouts, and there hasn't been a ton of situations, but when you just look, the most recent running back holdout, Le'Veon Bell was elite. He was great. He was almost like Christian McCaffrey before Christian McCaffrey actually came into the league and took off. He held out. He goes to play for the Jets, and he's never the same player again. And we don't want to see that for Saquon Barkley, someone that it really pisses me off and irritates me when people are like, oh, he's a bust already. He's not even top this or top that. He's, he can't even be elite. Saquon has literally played through multiple injured seasons and still produced. And when he's healthy, the Giants are a whole nother team. We'll get into those numbers in a second. And Daniel Jones is a whole nother quarterback. So I'm glad Saquon Barkley did not sit out. I am glad that he's got his $10.1 million fully guaranteed deal. They gave him the $2 million in the signing bonus. But the biggest thing I want to get into here is, what does this deal really say about the New York Giants and Saquon Barkley? We'll start with New York first. So you go to tag him for 10.1, and then, Barkley comes back, gets the 1-year deal. I don't really, and I should have looked in deeper, I don't really understand why he would, well, no, never mind. I do, because 1, he got the signing bonus, which I don't believe comes with a franchise tag. And then 2, it does have the ability to get escalated to $11 million. We know Saquon wanted about 15 to 16 million a year. What does this say about the New York Giants? They're not budging on the running back market. And I actually just saw on Instagram before I got on the show, New York tried to move Saquon Barkley after they tagged him back in March, but nobody wanted to bite because Saquon wanted that 15, 16 million a year. Clearly the Giants were only willing to tag him. They weren't going to meet on it. And then they give him the, little extension for the 1 year, which still lets them tag him again. So for me, that clause in there, the no franchise tag clause, I believe is what it was called, that says everything. We're not going to pay you what you want. We're going to pay you the market minimum of the franchise tag. And realistically, a New York size Saquon, because you haven't been a 100% healthy player your whole time, and because of how running backs do tailor off once they hit that 26, 27, 28 years old, it's pretty drastic and sometimes even horrible. Like, what are they supposed to do at that point? I mean, what is New York supposed to do at that point when that is their point of view? That's the standard that in their eyes that they've seen from Saquon, and the running back market is what it is. You look at Joe Burrow. Here's where, New York can kind of have their leverage in the situation. Joe Burrow, without Joe Mixon, passer rating goes up. I want to say, I can't remember the other couple of quarterbacks, but I'll just stick with that one. Maybe they're looking at that specific situation. But what does this also say about Saquon Barkley? He didn't want to say fuck you to his teammates. He didn't want to give the finger to the New York Giants. He didn't want to do the franchise like that because Saquon Barkley, I believe, really does have nice character in a running back. I believe he's done always done well at the podium. He really gives it his all out there. Yes, maybe he can't stay healthy, but Saquon coming back, I want to say he scrubbed, the social media for the New York Giants. He could have done that. He could have stuck it to the Giants, because do you want to know Daniel Jones's numbers without Saquon Barkley? Don't worry, I'll go ahead and tell you. So with Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones' completion percentage doesn't fall off terribly. 64.7 with Saquon, 62.5 without him. The touchdown to interception ratio, which is easily and naturally going to affect the points you score in a game. And then also the passer rating, not a big stat, but something that you do look at, of course, to see how efficient a quarterback can possibly be. And usually passer rating being higher shows a more efficient quarterback that makes better decisions. With Saquon Barkley, touchdown to interception ratio, 44 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. You're like, wow, Daniel Jones is actually a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio quarterback when Saquon Barkley's on the field. His touchdown to interception ratio goes down to 16 touchdowns and 17 picks. Damn near cuts in half, a third. I guess it's good that he doesn't throw any more interceptions, but it goes from really under one as a complete whole number to 1 touchdown to interception ratio. So Saquon Barkley clearly makes Daniel Jones a better quarterback. Let's not forget that Daniel Jones just got that bag because Brian Daboll came in, learned how to use Saquon Barkley well enough, which not that he was ever misused, gets Daniel Jones really in tune with Saquon, and wins Coach of the Year. Wait, yes, Daboll did win Coach of the Year. I almost want to make sure I'm not jumping the gun there. And then the passer rating, 91.4 with Saquon Barkley, 77.3 without Saquon Barkley. So Daniel Jones is a night and day quarterback when it comes to touchdown to interception ratio and passer rating, which really those are two of the biggest quarterback stats you can have there. The completion percentage doesn't fall off a whole lot. Literally 2.2 total points, 64.7 to 62.5. So Saquon knew that the Giants needed him, and he's going to go play, probably bank on himself, play healthy, try to get that deal somewhere else, maybe come to more terms after this, stretch of 17 NFL games in this season that, hey, I'm probably not going to get that 15 to 16 million. And I think if Saquon Barkley is really intelligent enough to take that in, he'll be able to get another deal, of course, below the range that he wants now, but he still wants to play. He doesn't want to shaft it to his teammates. He still wants to support the New York Giants organization. So the deal for New York shows them they're not budging. They're looking at the running back market as really the average. Things are worth what you're willing to pay for them, and they're not willing to pay that money for Saquon Barkley. For Saquon, I think this shows real character. He's actually willing to be there for his team. And again, the Daniel Jones stats with and without Saquon Barkley are absolutely atrocious. So y'all get in the comments, get in the chat. Let me know what you think about Saquon Barkley signing the 1 year, $10.1 million fully guaranteed deal, which I can respect for that, with also another $900K in incentives to get him about an extra $1 million and a $2 million signing bonus. Now let's go ahead and get into these AFC North record predictions for 2023. And I'm just going to go ahead and say before we get into it, I was shocked by how this division played out, who's winning it, how it's kind of falling down, 1 through 4. I haven't ranked the divisions yet in football. I'm probably going to do that on the next show. We got a loaded show for Friday. Justin Herbert got paid. No, we're not talking about that today because it broke not long before. The Chiefs and Chris Jones are still falling apart on the deal. Don't let me get too ahead of myself for Friday's show. But the AFC North record predictions for 2023. We'll go ahead and start out with the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that everybody is absolutely loving right now. I want to make sure I didn't pop the mic out of place. No, we're good. No, I'm not missing the chat. Cool, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. A team that everybody's hype about right now. Cincinnati Bengals, 17th hardest schedule, 11.5 projected wins. They're going to be 5-1 going into that week 7 bye week, and the only loss is going to be against Cleveland on the road. I got this team going 11-6 overall, 9-0 at home, undefeated, and 2-6 on the road, splitting the division with everyone here, the Steelers, the Browns, and the Ravens. And the Bengals start the season really hot with the softer part of their schedule because after the bye week, it absolutely ramps up, and they're really just going to go just above 500 at 6-5 down the stretch. And again, when you look at the Bengals schedule, Cleveland, Baltimore, Los Angeles, Tennessee, Arizona, Seattle, I've got them going 5-1 again with the only loss to Cleveland on the road after that bye week in week 7, which is well placed. I'd like it to be a little later, but it is closer to that middle of the season than more towards the beginning, I guess, if you want to cut the pie a certain way. But after the bye week in week 7, San Francisco, Buffalo, Houston, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, all three right there. Indianapolis, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Cleveland. So even though this is the 17th toughest schedule in the NFL and they are projected at 11.5 wins, I'm going slightly under with 11-6 overall, and they're going to go just above 500 at 6-5 down the stretch as they go through those 11 teams after the bye week. The Baltimore Ravens, 21st hardest schedule coming into the NFL this year, 8.5 projected wins. We know that Lamar Jackson tied up the big contract without the agent earlier this season. They bring in Zay Flowers. They bring in OBJ. They do just lose. I don't know if they lost Marcus Peters, but Marcus Peters does go to the Raiders here recently, and they just want to stay healthy overall in that quarterback room and that running back room, especially on the defensive side of the football, because we know this team has been injury riddled over the last few years. I've got them going 12-5 overall, undefeated at home. I was a little confused on the home games. I think it's either 9 or 10. They have a later game in the season, I believe, against the Steelers that's to be determined, and they just put it as a home game. Might be weird if they did have, technically one game is in the morning, I think in Germany or whatever is in the what's it called? The worldwide game before I get caught up on this here. But yes, undefeated at home, 2-5 on the road, got them going 12-5 overall here, talking about the Baltimore Ravens, splitting the division with everyone, the Steelers, the Browns, and the Bengals. And the first 5 weeks are absolutely packed with divisional games. If you take a look at that schedule, they're starting 2-3, I think, in these games. They're going to lose to Cincinnati, the Steelers, and the Browns all on the road. And when you take a look deeper into the schedule outside of Houston, Indy, and Arizona, the first 12 weeks of the season are pretty packed. It isn't really easy after the bye week, except with the Rams. And you look after the bye week here, which comes in week 13, as very late for a team who has struggled to stay healthy, but it could benefit them overall if they are a little hampered playing 12 straight games. I don't know how their, off time or off weeks are going to go, rest in between games, but they're going to be 8-4 going into that week 13 bye week, which again is very late, but it could benefit them. And when you look after the bye week in week 13, Los Angeles, I don't really know how the Rams are going to be. I don't have them doing too great. Some other people have them winning 10 or 11 games. Jacksonville, San Francisco, Miami, Pittsburgh. So it's not easy after the bye week. Before it's kind of spaced out. You start with Houston, Cincinnati, then you start with Indy, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, then you run into Tennessee, Detroit, and Arizona. So it calms down a little bit, but we know Tennessee could be competitive. I'm not high on them again. And Detroit, I believe, will be very competitive as well. NFC North is actually the last division for record predictions we'll be doing. And then you got Seattle, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Los Angeles. So again, this schedule is not, the most favorable because we see the teams that are on there, but nonetheless, 12-5 overall, undefeated at home, 2-5 on the road. So as of right now, Baltimore Ravens are first in this division. Cincinnati Bengals are second. Let's go on to the Cleveland Browns, a team that I am very, Very excited about, very high on. I believe in the Deshaun Watson era, and don't try to go sideways with that comment, please. I'm talking strictly about his play on the football field and what he's going to do for the Cleveland Browns. 26th hardest schedule. They're projected at 8.5 wins as well. Excuse me. The Ravens were projected at 8.5. They're going to clearly go over and go 12-5. The Browns, 26th hardest schedule, projected at 8.5 wins. And they're going to be 3-1 before going into an insanely early bye week in week 5. I don't like bye weeks week too early. You guys hear me talk about the bye week with every team and how I think it's going to favor them. I don't believe the Browns have really had a major injury bug necessarily here lately with key players or overall to really bring the team down. Yes, Deshaun Watson misses 11 games, and that's really going to change what's happening. I'm not gonna really take those numbers for 6 games at the end of the season into consideration, seeing how he missed a very long time on the football field. But I got the Browns splitting the division with everyone. I have the entire division of the AFC North splitting with everybody because I believe the Steelers, Browns, Ravens, and Bengals are all equally matched with each other in the division when it comes to those games. And I'm not saying they're all equally matched as teams, because clearly I'm not going to pick the Steelers to go to the Super Bowl as much as I would the Bengals or maybe even the Browns. Don't worry, Ravens fans, y'all could go too before y'all freak out. But yeah, splitting the division with everyone. And I really shocked myself as I saw Cleveland's win total as it was coming up on the schedule. I've got them going 13-4 overall, and the 26th hardest schedule in the NFL is definitely benefiting them. 9-0 at home, 4-4 on the road. Again, 13-4 overall. So as of right now, that puts the Cleveland Browns first in the AFC North. And I think when you dig into it, it's not a far-fetched thing to say. It's not something like if the Cleveland Browns go to the Super Bowl this year, I'm not shocked. And I'm not here to make a hot take or make Cleveland Browns fans feel great about themselves. But when you look at the offense, especially when you look at the defense in the front seven, probably the coaching staff will concern you a little more because Kevin Stefanski has won less games each year since the playoff berth. But the Deshaun Watson era is here. But, the schedule really favors them with 26th overall. Their only losses I have, since you guys probably want to know, wow, only losing 4 games. Yes, I'll go ahead and give them to you. The road divisional games, of course, Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, talking about the Browns here. And then to Denver on the road. So Denver and the 3 road divisional games are the only games that the Browns are going to lose. And all other games, I think they match up very well with these other teams, if not better. And I believe in the Deshaun Watson era. 8.5 projected wins, going 13-4 overall. So as of right now, the Cleveland Browns are at the top of the AFC North. And let's get into the Pittsburgh Steelers. Shout out to my awesome cousin, Ryan Spradlin, huge Steelers fan over there. He's a huge Kenny Small Hands Pickett's fan. 25th hardest schedule here with the Pittsburgh Steelers, projected at 8.5 wins. I got them going 11-6 overall, 7-2 at home, 4-4 on the road, very similar to the Cleveland Browns road record. And they're going to be 4-1 heading into a week 6 bye. So again, another early bye week. We know the Steelers have had some injuries, but I don't feel like it's a true injury bug that we could really say the Steelers have suffered from a whole lot. Yes, they've had, again, some over the last few years. But an early bye week, I'm never a fan of. I want to see you hit it at least in the middle, or I'd rather have a later bye week than an earlier one because you're going to need that rest in the middle or the later of the season. I mean, we've all said it. Really, once you get outside of September and maybe through the middle of October, everyone's playing hurt. Everyone's playing with an injury. Someone's thumb isn't 100%. Someone's ankle might be, 88% out there. I mean, these guys are playing for a ton of money, and you want to make sure, and they want to make sure that they're healthy. They're splitting the division with everyone, like I've said, with the entire AFC North, and it's a pretty winnable and favorable schedule. And when you look at Mike Tomlin they did just bring in Brian Flores. No, I'm tripping. Brian Flores is the D coordinator for the Vikings now. Let me hold that comment before I mess up on that. I'd like to check myself, though, just to make sure. Yep, that's right. All right, he just feel like bouncing around so much. I'm just like, what's happening? But yes, pretty winnable, pretty favorable schedule. You look at Mike Tomlin, you look at the other, coaching staff members. You've got Kenny Pickett, who will be, I think, a solid quarterback, at least top 15 to 16 in the league, which isn't enough to take you to a Super Bowl, but they've got the Super Bowl caliber defense. They've got a Darnell Washington, a Najee Harris, a George Pickens. So they've got pieces in place. They've got the defensive culture in place. Got them going 11-6 overall, like I said here. You look at the fact that their only losses are also going to be all those road divisional games, Seattle and Baltimore on the road, and San Francisco at home. So as the AFC North will play out in 2023, I've got the Browns going in first at 13-4, the Ravens coming in second at 12-5, the Bengals coming in third at 11-6, and then the Steelers coming in fourth at 11-6. Also, don't ask me how the seeding is going to play out. Don't ask me why the Bengals are coming ahead of the Steelers or the Ravens or whatever the case is, because I know the records are very close, and I know it's probably going to have to be a conference game or I know they go divisional games and they go conference games. After that, I think they go like points scored at home or home record or away record, something like that. And you don't have to roast me because it's a very, very long, not a very long, but a process that you just got to look into to understand. You can't really guess on where they're going to go because they've already calculated how they're going to roll out those playoff spots. This has been episode 31 of the NFL with AJL. I greatly appreciate everybody tapping into the show tonight. Please like the show, the stream, wherever you're at. Subscribe on YouTube. Hit the bell so you never miss a post, whether it's a short, live, clips that we post all the time from the show. The QR code there in the corner of the screen will give you every bit of podcast and social media content. Get at us on social media, DMs, share a post, comment, please save the post. I got you guys back. Always love to support when the people support the channel. And please leave us a review on podcast platforms. Tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell your family about the NFL with AJL, because I promise you will not find another podcast like it. And as always, we're sponsored by Buy and Sell with AJL for all your worldwide professional real estate needs at Buy and Sell with AJL on all social media platforms. If you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate, these are the people that you need to be in touch with. Drop your email down low. Get at them on social media with your email for them to get you on that exclusive newsletter that actually keeps you ahead of the daunting real estate market. You got to know your numbers. You got to know your facts. You got to be with a good agent, a good letter, a good team to move forward in this ever-changing real estate market. And if you want to take advantage of some AI that they have implemented into the business, again, either DM them or drop it down in the comments. Your name, your email address, and a possible address that you want to know all the facts a seller might need, or just the average Joe on the street wants to know about what a house could sell for, what a house could sell for, how fast it could sell, and how many houses in the area are selling. Episode 31, we're jumping right back in here as Justin Fields. I'm a big Justin Fields fan. Let me just say that before we get into this. I really like Justin Fields at Ohio State. I'm actually a big Georgia fan, despite all the Saints stuff I talk about and wear and have here in the background. If you don't know, holds that side of the family from New Orleans. But I've been a Dogs fan since day one, just like I have been with the Saints. I follow LSU a little bit too. But when Justin Fields was at Georgia, as I want to say the number one quarterback prospect, and Kirby Smart never really used him. And we knew that when Justin Fields came to the game, he was going to run the football. He goes to Ohio State, plays in a national championship, turns into a whole different quarterback, and puts the college football world on notice, puts the NFL on notice. But I knew Justin Fields had that in him. But Justin Fields is still 5-20 in 2 years as a starter in the NFL. He's shown that he can't read a defense, and he doesn't throw the ball at a high level in the NFL as of right now. I'm a Justin Fields fan, and I know everything I just said happened under Matt Nagy and Matt Eberflus. He's had 2 head coaches in 2 seasons with no true offensive weapons. But what he said, he took the bait. Justin Fields says he is a top 5 running quarterback all time, and he's 5-20 in 2 years as a starter. So that's the only reason I take issue with it is you've won 5 games. Yes, while we do understand what it's been underneath, you can't go and say you're a top 5 running quarterback of all time, and you haven't even won 8 games in a single season. You haven't even won 6 games in a single season, let alone your whole career. Again, I'm a Justin Fields fan. I love what the guy does in Chicago. I know that he had the second highest rushing yards for a quarterback in NFL history in a season. I understand that Justin Fields carried that entire offense last year for the Chicago Bears and still only mustered 3 wins, I want to say. But for you to say that you're a top 5 running quarterback of all time, again, Justin Fields, I love you, man, but you took the bait here. Leave yourself out. Don't answer. Maybe just do a top 3. I don't know. But I do respect the answer You can have respect for something and still take issue with it. I respect the answer because of the confidence, because he knows how special he is as a player. Because if he ain't going to say it, who the hell else is going to say it? So I have respect for the confidence in the answer that he gave. But let's ask, who are the top 5 running quarterbacks of all time in NFL history? And let's not kid ourselves. Number 1, clearly Michael Vick. If you want to say, some people want to say prime Michael Vick. Still tore it up in Philadelphia, too. We know the Steelers and the Jets days aren't really going to count. But number 1 is prime Michael Vick. Maybe I should have went 5-1, but I'm starting off at the top hot, so there's no debate about the number 1 spot. And no, I didn't mean to rhyme that either. Michael Vick, the most electrifying runner of the football, at least at the quarterback position, we've ever seen. Michael Vick was running the football before you were supposed to be running the football as a quarterback. Michael Vick was doing that under, was that Dean? No. I can't remember. I know there was Jim Mora Jr., I think, and God, I don't know. I don't know the head coaches he was under at the time, but I know that that was not the system it was set up for. Michael Vick was way ahead of his time. We all know that. Way ahead of his time. He might not have the touchdowns that all these other guys on here do, but he's the leading rusher in NFL history for rushing yards as a quarterback. Michael Vick was undoubtedly the best running quarterback in NFL history. And he also had the cannon. He also had the cannon, the arm to be able to go with it as well. And, you know, some people want to say, oh, well, Lamar is better, or some people might want to go stupid and say Josh Allen is better, or whatever. Michael Vick was running the football before you were supposed to as a quarterback, and didn't necessarily revolutionize it. Revolutionize? I guess that's a word. I feel like that's right. It didn't feel right at the time, but he made your eyes come to the screen. He made you want to watch football. And to know that the offense wasn't built for that, and he still did it at a high level and was successful at times. Yes, it might not have led to MVPs or even, you know, all pros. He was only a 4-time Pro Bowler or even Super Bowls. But Michael Vick went to prison for 2 years in the prime of his NFL career. And yes, that's his fault. I'm not here to talk about that. He did what he did, and I think it was horrible. But imagine how much further their career could have went. Of course, we're going to play the what if game like we do with all good stories if that didn't happen. Michael Vick, number 1. Number 2, Cam Newton. When you look at Cam Newton as just a running quarterback in general, not talking about Cam Newton as a player, Cam Newton has 5,628 rushing yards, second all time on the NFL rushing quarterback list. We know he's Offensive Player of the Year in 2015, MVP, Offensive Rookie of the Year. He was the All-Pro in the MVP year as well. 5,628 yards, over 1,118 carries, over 148 games, but 75 touchdowns. Cam Newton is the all-time leader for rushing touchdowns as a quarterback with 75. And really to know that his 11 seasons, only 8 of those were solid, or the part of Cam Newton that everyone liked to see from 2011 to 2019 with the Carolina Panthers. But even then, towards the end, he was falling off, and that's why he went to the Patriots in 2020, back to the Panthers in 2021, and begins to make social media videos and continues to make social media videos, trolling fans, trolling kids at his camp, saying how do all these randoms get jobs. I know how they do, Cam, because they're better than you overall as a player and as a quarterback. But I'm talking about you as a rushing quarterback. If I'm talking about you as a rushing quarterback here, which I am, you're going to go second all time on my list. 75 rushing touchdowns for a quarterback. And let's not forget, he was the first player to win a national championship. He became the first player to win a national chip, a Heisman Trophy, and be the number 1 overall pick in a single year when the Panthers drafted him number 1 overall. The dude was 6'5", 250 pounds, and was absolutely ridiculous. NFL records for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback, like I said, career rushing attempts by a quarterback, and most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in a single season. Cam Newton owns all of those. At number 3, give me Lamar Jackson. We know what Lamar's done. We know what Lamar top 5 running for his life. I don't know who you're mentioning there, Darby. Good to see you on the show, though, man. Got to drop your comments in here because I had a little bit of technical difficulties tonight, so no lower thirds. Or you want to go out? Huh? Want to? Go ahead. Backwards. Lady let the puppers in. Had to let the puppers back out because she wanted to go out. I hope the lady didn't let her in because she needed to. We got a new puppy, y'all. That's a whole nother story, kind of unexpectedly. But him's a sweet boy. His name is Bear, but boy, is he a lot. 5 months old. Today is also Inka's birthday, her gotcha day. All right, removing my life from it, back into the top 5 running quarterbacks of all time. Lamar Jackson. We know what Lamar Jackson has done. We know, I know Justin Fields saying he's top 5, top 5 running for his life. He definitely was the number 1 running for his life in that last year next to Russell Wilson. Number 3, though, Lamar Jackson, the third best running quarterback of all time. Yeah, you could put him number 1 because he broke Michael Vick's record, because he is done. But what people also don't realize is he also has almost the full amount of carries in just 4 or 5 years that Michael Vick, Randall Cunningham, Cam Newton, all those guys that they had in their entire career, he's already got that. So the carries are going to run up for Lamar Jackson, but we know what Lamar's capable of. He changes defenses. He makes people think differently about the defense. He makes you nervous as hell. Lamar Jackson is someone that you have to plan for. You have to plan profusely for him. Because you know what he's capable of. You know he's going to break ankles. You know he's going to make highlight reels. You know he's going to raise hell and wreak havoc on any NFL defense that truly is not keeping up with him. Love Lamar. Love what he does. Number 4, Randall Cunningham. I don't know if you guys realize it, but Randall Cunningham, I feel like, was Josh Allen before Josh Allen. Randall Cunningham with the massive build. I want to make sure I get it right here because you really got to pay homage. 4,928 rushing yards, 37 touchdowns, 6'4", 215 pounds. Very, very popular player. Lord, let's see what a great running quarterback he was, because he led the league in sacks 5 times, including when he set the NFL record, losing 489 yards. Man, sorry, a little bit of a rabbit hole there. But yes, Randall Cunningham, the build, the weight, the speed, the way he was able to move just strictly as a running quarterback, being with the Eagles, being with the Vikings. If you didn't watch Randall Cunningham back then, you got to go look up his tape. He was quick. He was definitely violent with the way he ran the football. Again, Josh Allen, really before Josh Allen was in the league, and just that big, strong stature. Or really, you can even say like Cam Newton before Cam Newton. Cam, I think, definitely ran stronger, and Josh Allen also ran stronger as well. But when you talk about the size and the speed that they're able to do it with, Randall Cunningham for sure. And then at number 5, I'm going to go Steve Young. Honorable mention to Josh Allen, honorable mention to Russell Wilson as well. Russell Wilson is actually, I think, 3rd all time, if I'm not mistaken, on the rushing list. Yes, with 4,966 yards, 26 touchdowns. I have a lot of respect for Russ. As much as he was a running quarterback, he's still a pocket guy that was more of on the Mahomes level, but ran more earlier on in his career. That's how I look at Russell Wilson. But at number 5, give me Steve Young. And you talk about the true ability to not only pass the football, but run the football at the same time. I mean, we might be looking at still one of the best, if not the best, of course, next to Mahomes and how Rodgers does it, and Josh Allen too. It really just Mahomes and Rodgers for now. Josh Allen, you need to step it up a little bit there, brother. Steve Young, 4,239 rushing yards, 43 touchdowns. Steve Young was a legend. Steve Young was very crazy. We've heard all the comparisons that Mahomes has had to Steve Young, to Josh Allen as well. All the running and gunning guys, they're kind of modeled after Steve Young. Man, that's why I like having a guest on the show, because I can, excuse me, guys, just drink water comfortably and just be able to jive with y'all. It's all good. But yeah, Steve Young, number 5, 43 touchdowns, 4,239 yards. The way he ran the football with the Niners. We know he had that small stint with the Bucs from 85 to 86, the 3-time Super Bowl champion in 88, 89, and 94. Super Bowl MVP, 2-time NFL MVP, Offensive Player of the Year. And Steve Young, this is the crazy part about him. You can move him higher. He was only a full-time starter once in his first 7 NFL seasons, and ended up playing a total of 15 years. So you could say really Steve Young kind of only had half of a full career to get things done. So that's like, It's like with Michael Vick. Like, you want to say, oh, of course, if he wouldn't have went to prison, how great his career could have been. When you look at Steve Young, if he would have been able to actually start a lot more than what he did, then Steve Young could be even higher on this list. His numbers could be even greater. But my top 5 running quarterbacks of all time: number 1, Michael Vick, of course; number 2, Cam Newton; number 3, Lamar Jackson. There's probably the controversy there. Number 4, Randall Cunningham; number 5, Sting Young. Honorable mentions to Russell Wilson and Josh Allen as well. Now let's go ahead and get into the top 10. Man, I'm flying through this show tonight. I wanted to get on here, guys. Like I said, didn't want to keep you guys waiting too much. I know we were waiting for a second and it was getting a little later, but let's go ahead and get into it. We might get a sub 45-minute podcast tonight. It'll make nice for content. We'll blast it out because we got another loaded show Friday. The top 10 running backs for the 2023 NFL season. Number 10, give me Aaron Jones. I believe the Packers and Jordan Love, also, God, I almost said Mike McDaniel, Matt LaFleur are really going to lean on that Aaron Jones, factor of the offense. We know that a lot of quarterbacks are greater with running backs behind them because it takes the pressure off it. And Jordan Love is going to need the pressure taken off of him this year. Aaron Jones is really that CMC type of guy, that Saquon Barkley type of guy that can come out of the backfield, catch passes, that Austin Eckler type of guy. And I have a lot of respect for Aaron Jones. He even restructured his deal. He probably wasn't super happy about it with the running back market. But at number 10, give me Aaron Jones. Number 9, a guy that I just mentioned and very similar to him, Austin Eckler with the Los Angeles Chargers. We know that he re-signed as well, which was good. It was good that Austin Eckler re-signed because the Chargers needed to do it. Austin Eckler's contributions to that offense and really just overall in the league as a running back, absolutely insane. One of the best dual threats out there. Number 8, give me Travis Etienne. Yes, you heard me correctly. Travis Etienne with the Jacksonville Jaguars. This Jaguars team is going to surge. They're absolutely going to surge this year. We know that they're going towards the top of the AFC South. We know that they could maybe even be the number 1 seed in the AFC. I'm not taking it that far. We got a lot of Jaguars fans, a lot of broadcasters, content creators out here that are saying, hey, Jaguars could be number 1 seed. I'm not going there yet, but I know Travis Etienne in a great, healthy season behind Trevor Lawrence. We already saw it last year. He was my number 1 running back coming into the league when he came out of that draft. No question about what Travis Etienne is capable of. Great dual threat back. He can really do it all. Maybe not the best at blocking, but maybe more can be seen for that as well. At number 7, give me Bijan Robinson for the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, I'm putting a rookie ahead of some veterans, but not ahead of the cream of the crops that we know at the running back position. When you look at how Atlanta ran the football very, very well last season with Tyler Algier, who I really wanted as a Saints fan in the draft. You look at how they go, in my opinion, horribly take Bijan Robinson at number 8 in this draft because they were number 1 in all major rushing categories like rush yards per play, rush yards per game, carries per game, EPA per play. The Falcons were either first or top 3 to 5 in all of those categories. So yeah, they wanted to say they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball some more, and they're going to run the ball all the way down your throat with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson, which is why they took him. The Falcons defense is going to be great this year. The Falcons quarterback position is going to be more to be desired. But if we know one thing, the Falcons are going to run the hell out of the football this year. And I believe Bijan's going to get his, share of carries. I believe Bijan could be a 13, 14, 1,500-yard rusher this year because of how violent he was coming out of Texas, because he was undoubtedly the number 1 running back in the class this year, way ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs, who got taken at number 12 shortly after him. No, I don't have Jahmyr Gibbs in my top 10, so go ahead and get that out of here before you even think about it, because at number 6, I've got Jonathan Taylor. Let's not forget Jonathan Taylor was 2 seasons removed, now is 2 seasons removed from an 1,800-yard, 18-touchdown season to where he was the best running back in the league. We were ranking him up there as soon as Derrick Henry fell down, and Jonathan Taylor came up to compete. Let's not kid ourselves. I want to say Jonathan Taylor also had, God, was it 800 yards receiving? I don't know. He had overall 2,000 or maybe even 2,200 all-purpose yards the year that he did that. We know he only plays 11 games last year. Still has very good production, but we know what Jonathan Taylor is capable of. I believe the Colts having Anthony Richardson being that very, big dual threat quarterback, if he is able to pass the ball at a high level, he's going to lean on Jonathan Taylor. They're going to lean on that offensive line. They need it. Shane Steichen will really put JT to work. At number 5, the gentleman we started the show off with and who just signed the deal, Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is going to do so much for the Giants offense now that Darren Waller is there. They've got Jalen Hyatt. Actually, forgot about Jalen Hyatt. Daniel Jones should be very comfortable because Saquon's back. He's got Jalen Hyatt out wide. And he's also got Darren Waller, who we do need Darren Waller to stay healthy. But I believe Saquon will be just fine this year. He didn't want to say F his teammates. He didn't want to stick it to the Giants organization. He wanted to be there for his guys, and I have all the respect for it. It's a great judgment of character. We know Saquon's a do-it-all back, running on the outside, going in between the tackles, catching passes out of the backfield. He'll make you miss. He'll run past you. At number 4, this might have been the hardest placement for me to have here on the list because I've always felt indifferently about Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is still a great running back. We saw what he did last year, career yards, career touchdowns. We've seen what he's done over time. I remember a couple seasons ago, I was talking about Josh Jacobs as a top performer, as one of my top running backs. I want to say it was the 2020 season with COVID. If I recall correctly, his season was great, was absolutely great. I don't think Josh Jacobs will far fall off because if anything, they're really going to lean on Josh Jacobs because Jimmy G is so used to having a very effective running game. Offensive line might not be the greatest, but Josh Jacobs can come out of the backfield. He can rush the football as well. He, is going to have maybe some pressure. Well, no, not even pressure relief. That'd be for Jimmy G, not for Josh Jacobs. But Josh Jacobs, I believe, is going to get utilized very well. Jimmy G is really going to need that rushing presence because, yes, the Falcons definitely could have and should have taken Jalen Carter, no question. Josh Jacobs, though, with the Raiders, he's really going to provide for this offense. And they're really going to lean on him when they see that Jimmy G is not able to carry an offense because he was always carried by a not carried, always really supplemented by a defense. At number 3, give me Nick Chubb, former Georgia Bulldog, current Cleveland Brown. Nick Chubb, absolute monster, great rushing grades every year, a do-it-all back. He can be a great blocker. He can be great in the passing game. We have no complaints about Nick Chubb. He can really put his foot in the ground and take off. He's really going to be utilized this year, especially with that Deshaun Watson factor. We know about the defense with the front 7 and all. The Browns are going to be set, and Nick Chubb is going to play a big part in that. Number 2, almost wanted to go number 1 with him, but number 2, Christian McCaffrey, the best dual threat running back in the NFL. Love that he got traded away from the Carolina Panthers because I kind of thought his career was over. And Christian McCaffrey resurging his career, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And with the Niners of all teams, yes, go ahead and get under that tutelage of Mike Shanahan and the offensive coordination and that play calling and those schemes. Because Christian McCaffrey fit in perfectly. Double-digit touchdowns, well over 1,500 yards, I want to say, all purpose. We know what CMC is capable of, and I love to see him healthy. And at number 1, the King, Derrick Henry. King Henry with the Tennessee Titans. And maybe he's not number 1 for you guys. Maybe he's number 2. Maybe he's number 4. Derrick Henry is still the best pound-for-pound running back. I'm going to run over you. I'm going to shove the football down your throat. I'm going to put my shoulder pad into your chin and probably break your teeth. And I'm still going to run for 70 yards after you try to tackle me 3 or 4 times. Getting a little carried away here, but we know what Derrick Henry is capable of. DeAndre Hopkins is out wide now. Ryan Tannehill, what is he going to be? Really don't know what he's going to be. To me, it was the one lightning in a bottle year. I know that they were able to get that 1 seed in the AFC when Derrick Henry went down, which is very remarkable. Very, very remarkable. And Mike Vrabel's there. But nonetheless, Derrick Henry will be the number 1 running back going into 2023. Number 2, CMC. Number 3, Nick Chubb. Number 4, Josh Jacobs. Number 5, Saquon Barkley. Number 6, Jonathan Taylor. Number 7, Bijan Robinson. Yes, Bijan Robinson. Number 8, Travis Etienne. Number 9, Austin Eckler. Number 10, Aaron Jones. Honorable mentions to Joe Mixon, Najee Harris. I wanted to put Dalvin top 10 so badly, but I don't really know how it's going to be with a guy that was cut like Dalvin, and we haven't heard much about his market. But what an episode 31. I saw you said no AK, Darby, and I'll address that real quick before we leave. I didn't like what I saw from Alvin Kamara last year. Yes, we're talking about Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill and Andy Dalton as quarterback. But I think he'll be right outside top 10 this year. I'll throw Kamara into those honorable mentions. I feel like I kind of got caught with my pants down here. I would love to say that AK is going to be top 10. I really would. There's a very good chance he'll be top 10. But something is just telling me that his true, Unfortunately, I think his prime is past him, and I hate to say that because I love Alvin Kamara with every fiber in my being. He's the only other, he's the only other Saints jersey that I have besides Drew Brees, and you know how much I love the Saints, Darby, and Alvin Kamara as well. I hope AK's top 10. It's Pete Carmichael, bro, isn't using AK in the passing game. So let me talk about that too real quick before we get off here. Hell, since we're on here, I'm hype about the Jimmy Graham signing. I don't give a damn what anybody says about the Jimmy Graham signing. I know he's not going to be the guy that he was back in 2014. Jimmy Graham, just give me like 400 touchdowns. That would be nice, right? Give me like 400 yards and like 4 touchdowns. I'd love to see him return to the 11, 12, 1,300 yard guy that we saw, but I'm not going to kid myself. I know he's on the other side of 35. I understand he wasn't a whole lot with any other teams. And let's be real. Jimmy Graham, I guess the original Jimmy G, wasn't anything after he left the Saints. And I know it's not Breeze, and I know it's not Peyton, for sure. But as a Saints fan, in a weak NFC, I'll take anything I can get. I'll take the nostalgia. Just wanted to put that out there. But with it being Pete Carmichael, yes, he wasn't using AK in the passing game, but Pete Carmichael's been with us since the Super Bowl season. And the Saints consistently have had a top offense up until Sean Payton left ever since that Super Bowl season. I believe because we saw Dennis Allen make more boneheaded defensive calls than Pete Carmichael made boneheaded offensive calls in the past years, just from what I've seen as a fan looking very closely. I don't want to believe it's Pete, man. And if it is, all right, we'll have to move on from him sooner rather than later if the play calling is going to be anemic and all. And that's why Dennis Allen is on my hot seat. Nah, 400 touchdowns are a bust. Absolutely. But I'm pumped about the Jimmy Graham signing. I'll cut this up somehow to get it put on YouTube. It might not be worth anything, but just had to react to that. Come on, Jimmy. Come back. Give me the 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Bro, I'll even go for like 500 yards and 3 touchdowns, okay? Just score when we need you to and when we pass you the ball so I can flash back to 2013 and 14. Cool? All right. Sounds great. That was episode 31. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Yes, sir. That was episode 31 of the NFL with AJL. I know we were a little late tonight, but technical difficulties will never stop us as the show must go on. Hope you guys enjoyed it a whole lot. Please like the stream, subscribe on YouTube before you get out of here. Hit the bell to never miss a post. Whether you were watching on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube, please like and share that stream wherever you're at. The QR code here in the corner of the screen, as always, will give you every bit of social media and podcast content. Get at me any way you can. DM me on any social media platform. Comment on anything. Share this stuff. If you want to be on the show, that's cool. When I had Logan Hill on from the the Coordinated Chaos podcast, I think that was the last show I did. I know we've been a little spotty here. But yeah, guys, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all as always. Episode 32 should be happening this Friday. It's going to be packed. Justin Herbert got paid. Trayvon Diggs got paid. Chris Jones is still looking for a deal. But we'll see how it turns out in episode 31. Looking to have a guest there. I appreciate y'all for running up the subscribers for me. We're over 500. We're going to get that watch time going up as well. You'll be able to actually subscribe as a membership to the channel and drop me super chats on YouTube. The NFL with AJL, signing out.